What's going on, my homies? Jolt here from TheTokenMinorities, and I have lost a lot of hair, but don't let that distract you from the fact that this is the finals of the Last Battle Circuit Season 1. This is the final game of my career in the this generation of draft format. So definitely wanting to go out with a win, go out with the championship would be the best way to close out this generation here for sure. But this week we are against Panther, the coach of the Carolina Clefables. Make sure to go check him out. He'll be linked down in the description below. Also make sure to go check out the semifinals battles, which will, at least my side of my game last, I guess 2 weeks ago against AA Round 2420 will be linked down below as well, just in case you missed it. Obviously, because this is the finals, it's not really a spoiler to say we did win that game against AA Round, but it was a pretty good game, so make sure to go give that a look if you haven't already. Now, with all of that said, we are diving into a team builder for the finals of the LBC, and let me tell you, I really want to win this game. I put a lot of time and effort into this team concept to try to put together something that I think has a fantastic chance of knocking off Panther, who's had an incredible season this season. He has one loss. He is 8-1 with an incredibly high differential. Pretty much blown out everyone that he played except one matchup earlier in the season, which actually was against Aaron, his only loss this season. So it's going to be a challenge for sure. He's been playing well. I think his draft, in my opinion, is the strongest in the league. Not really counting my own. Whatever your opinion is on that, I think mine's pretty solid too. But even so, it's going to be tricky. He has a lot of threats. He has all kinds of really scary mons on his draft. He has the Landorus T, Hydreigon, Scolipede, Staraptor, Sylveon, Empoleon, Rotom Heat, Silvally, Rhydon, Ursaring, and the Mega Gallade. And any of those Pokemon can use Z moves, so he has Z Scolipede and Z Landorus T on the same team, which is terrifying to say the least, trying to deal with both of those. So yeah, a lot of really scary threats on his team, and because he has so many threats that honestly are pretty scary for me to deal with defensively, I really expect this game to end up being a little bit more on the offensive side. And because of that, I'm not going to try to bring a bunch of defensive Pokemon or like a bulky balance type of team. I don't think that's really the smart way to approach a matchup like this. I think it's better, especially for a finals game where people can really, or they tend to get really creative with the types of movesets and Pokemon that they bring to a finals game. I think it makes a lot more sense for me to take a more aggressive approach to my team build, or maybe a better way to put it is just to basically dictate the flow of the game through my team build instead of reacting to what he brings. I want to always be working toward my goal in this game, which is going to be to try to win with my Zygarde, which I'll show here in just a little bit. But anyway, so that's the thought, I guess, just looking at the drafts. He has a lot of offense that's pretty scary for me to deal with. And yeah, I don't really want to try to repeatedly switch into all of these really scary offensive threats. And he has some stuff that can quite honestly sweep me if I don't bring proper checks and counters to all of it. Stuff like the Scolipede at +2. If he gets a +2 with Scolipede, really most of my team is going to be in range of being knocked out by one of its coverage moves, especially if he decides to bring like a Z move to help him hit members of my team a little bit harder than he would be able to with something like a Life Orb, for example. But yeah, so that's something I have to be really concerned about is SD Scolipede. I'm also scared about SD Gallade. Mega Gallade is able to murder most of my team, especially if he decides to bring something like Shadow Sneak, which I don't think he's going to bring Shadow Sneak, which means Beedrill should be able to at least help out in checking Mega Gallade. But SD Mega Gallade is just so good against my team. He can bring coverage for Mew, and Mew really doesn't do a whole lot back to Gallade either unless I decide to run a Z Crystal on it. So I don't really consider Mew to be a counter to Mega Gallade. It's a check at best against Mega Gallade in my opinion. So Mega Gallade, all it really needs is fighting coverage, ice coverage, and just something to hit Mew super effectively. Then it hits my whole team neutrally, most of it super effectively on its own. So it's just a massive threat for me to deal with. So I have to have really good ways of offensively responding to Mega Gallade because I can't really respond to it defensively. I can only really pivot around it and try to get offensive responses in against it. So yeah, Mega Gallade and Scolipede, in my opinion, are the two biggest threats to my team. Scarf Hydreigon is something I'm really expecting in this matchup as well, just because Scarf Hydreigon would allow him to outpace a +1 +1 Zygarde, and that's really, in my opinion, his best way to offensively check a +1 Zygarde. He could bring something like a Silvally Bug or Grass if he wants to. We can also lean on Landorus T or maybe like a defensive Sylveon, but I don't think defensive Sylveon or Landorus T are particularly reliable as a Zygarde counter, just because Sylveon can't knock it out in one hit, and Landorus T can't either. Plus, I can easily pack Hidden Power Ice or like a Z move to help me punch through the Sylveon. So I don't really think those are great options. Silvally's definitely better at doing that, but more likely I think he's going to try to bring something like a Scarfed Hydreigon to help him pretty much guaranteed check a non-Haban Berry Zygarde in this matchup. And also, like, not only that, but a Choice Scarf on the Hydreigon gives him a good offensive response to Mega Beedrill. Like a Scarfer in general, I think Hydreigon is the best Scarfer on his team against my team, and I think like that'll also help him out against something like my Beedrill. It also still is a good switch in and pivot into Rotom Wash if that's something he wants to do. And if I don't bring both like Togekiss and Cobalion, my 2 Dragon Resists, then Scarfed Hydreigon could really become a problem. So that's something that really is going to be a centralizing focus as well in my in the Pokemon that I decide to bring. I'm not bringing a defensive team by any means, but I do need to bring the type combinations that allow me to pivot around his scariest offensive threats. So that's some of the stuff I'm thinking about, but like I said, I'm going to try to win this game with the Zygarde. There's a few things I need to be able to do to make that happen. So the set that I really want to bring is Weakness Policy. Okay, so Weakness Policy is really good against this team because if I can get up to +3 attack and +1 speed, so through a Dragon Dance, then I'm able to actually straight up knock out almost his entire team minus Silvally, Grass, or Bug with the combination of Hidden Power Ice for Landorus T, 1,000 Arrows just because it's super spammable, and Extreme Speed just to help me pick off stuff that might be faster than me, like the Hydreigon, for example. I only need a little bit of chip damage off on a bunch of those Pokemon for a +3, +1 Zygarde to be able to sweep his entire team pretty effortlessly, honestly. It does not need much at all. Silvally is the main thing I have to wear down, and if he brings Silvally Grass, it's only really good for Zygarde as well, so that's almost like a dead team slot when it comes to the rest of my mods. My team really deals pretty well with Grass types. I haven't seen very many Grass types actually come against me this season, which has made my Zygarde matchup kind of nice, honestly, and when they do bring the Grass type, it just makes Mega Beedrill better, and that combination Mega Beedrill Zygarde would highly recommend for you guys wanting to try out different types of offensive cores in the future. Zygarde, Mega Beedrill has been fantastic for me throughout the whole season for sure. But yeah, I want to try to win this game with Zygarde. I want to try to trigger a Weakness Policy, and the best way to do that is going to be through Light Screen support, because his best ways to revenge a Zygarde are going to be his Choice Scarfed Hydreigon, which is more likely than not going to be a special attacker. Draco Meteor will not knock me out behind a Light Screen. I don't even need any investment to make that happen. And Sylveon is one of his other better options, plus like a Hidden Power Ice, Landorus T, Hidden Power Ice, Rotom Heat potentially, Ice Beam and Polion, stuff like that. These are all special attacks, which means that if I can get a Light Screen up Zygarde with a Weakness Policy and just getting +1 Dragon Dance can very quickly sweep his team. So I'm going to be building a full team geared toward making that the primary win condition, while also making sure I'm not swept by his other very scary offensive threats against me. So anyway, that's kind of where we're going to start off with this team build. So we will go ahead and hop on over to that. Didn't mean to show you the Cobalion just yet. This is how we're going to start this off with the Zygarde. So this is a Weakness Policy variant. I do have pretty much max attack. I think I've got basically I just wanted to outpace, I believe, Rotom Heat if it's uninvested. It's like Bold Nature max speed for whatever reason. I think is what I was going for with the speed investment on this. But basically, like I said, this thing's primary job is just to take any one hit from something that's going to hit me with a special attack behind a Light Screen. And in some cases, versus like Sylveon, for example, I don't really need a Light Screen if it doesn't have a boost, if it's not like Choice Specs or Calm Mind or whatever. I don't need to have a boost to take a Hyper Voice from Sylveon. I don't need to have a boost to take a Hidden Power Ice from a defensive check to Zygarde. I probably don't even need a boost to take an Ice Beam from Savali unless he is a little bit invested. So I might not actually even need the Light Screen for this to be able to set up, but Light Screen certainly makes it a little bit safer when it comes to his own priority options, or when it comes to maybe just barely missing out on a KO on my end. He might be able to get off a second hit against me, and that little bit extra bulk that I'm able to actually have with the rest of my investment here can help out on that. But yeah, not a whole lot to really say, I guess, in terms of the EV spread, other than the fact that this is about as strong of a Zygarde as I could afford to have. 236 attack, adamant, and if I can get up to +3, +1 from the weakness policy boost, then yeah, his team is going to be in a world of pain against this, no doubt in my mind. This should be able to win if I'm able to, well, especially if he doesn't bring Savali and I can activate my weakness policy with the Dragon Dance, then this should be an auto win. That's really how I see this Zygarde set. If I'm able to wait long enough in the game to where I can chip down stuff that into range of Zygarde, then this should be able to win this game pretty easily at that point. But if he does bring Savali, then I do have to wait a little longer, and I need to chip that thing down probably to around 50% or even lower if it's like a full Fizz Death variant to confirm that. So Savali definitely I'll have my eye on if he opts to bring it, but this is definitely the win con here in this game. I'm going to really build the team around trying to make this thing the winner. But now for the primary support for this Zygarde, as I mentioned, I do want to have the light screen support, so I do have the Mew, which is a light screen setter. It's a pretty safe light screen setter against this team that is able to outspeed the vast majority of it, or at least take a hit from almost every member of his team as well. Obviously not Hydreigon comfortably or Scolipede at all, but it still is able to take a hit from a lot of those mons. It also might allow me to chip down the Empoleon, which is actually kind of big for a couple of the other members of my team here in the back, the Mega Beedrill and the Togekiss, as Super Fang plus Taunt will help out a lot, I think, against stuff like Empoleon. Even against something like Hydreigon, getting Super Fang damage off on Hydreigon is huge, because that guarantees it can be put into range of a +3 extreme speed from my Zygarde as well. So that could be nice too, but pretty much this thing's job is to set a light screen, to have Psychic just to make sure Scolipede can never set up a +2. You'll see that as a theme throughout my team as well. Scolipede is never going to be able to set up a free Swords Dance against this team. At the very least, it'll always be put into range of my Zygarde's extreme speed, or it's going to be status, and that would not be, great for the Scolipede with a burn or whatever from a Rotom. So yeah, the Scolipede's never going to be able to set up. That's the reasoning behind Psychic specifically. Otherwise, that could have maybe been something else. But anyway, Super Fang plus Taunt's going to prevent him from going for a Roar on my Zygarde that comes in after this. It'll prevent a Defog to get rid of the light screen. So basically, Taunt just ensures that I can keep the screen up whenever Mew decides to set it, and then Super Fang is just to chip down whatever decides to use as his response to Mew. Maybe I could even chip down the Savali, as he's not going to know what my Mew set is, so I'm not really sure what he's going to try to switch into Mew at first. I think Empoleon is the most likely, so I think Super Fang is going to come in clutch there for weakening it down for Beedrill and Togekiss. But that is the Mew sets. Pretty straightforward. I believe I have investment for Adamant Landorus T in terms of my speed, so I'll be able to do a good chunk of damage to that. I can taunt it to prevent a Swords Dance as well, as I think a Swords Dance Landorus is a little bit annoying for this team that I'm bringing, just due to the speed tiers of the mons I brought. And just, yeah, I need to be able to chip down Landorus pretty badly. And Mew is going to be able to do that as well if needed. So that is the Wombo combo. That is the core that we're trying to win this game with. The light screen Mew into a weakness policy Zygarde 50. So that's that. And then we have a pretty standard mon. It's a Rotom Wash. I brought this almost every single game this season. In fact, every single game that we won, we had Rotom Wash on the team, I do believe. Same is the case for Mega Beedrill. So that's kind of the fun fact, I guess, of the season. I've been monitoring what's happened in my losses this season pretty closely, and every time I didn't bring the core Rotom Wash Mega Beedrill, we lost. Every single time. All 2 times we lost when we didn't bring that core, so I'm obviously bringing that to finals 100%. Even though Mega Beedrill really doesn't have the best matchup, but I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But Rotom Wash is absolutely coming, has a fantastic matchup in this game. He only has one Pokemon that can switch into Volt Switch. That is the Landorus T, which is obviously not going to appreciate Will-O-Wisp or the Hydro Pump, so this should be really good at getting momentum for me in this game, and he doesn't really appreciate switching into Will-O-Wisps, period. So So yeah, Rotom Wash is just pretty solid against him. Does have enough bulk to take a hit from even Hydreigon if I need to. I can take a modest Scarf Draco Meteor from full health if necessary, which could be nice if I'm trying to just get a little bit of chip damage on that, maybe from even just a Pain Split or something like that, just to scout what he wants to lock himself into, as like I said, I am expecting that to be a Choice Scarf Hydreigon. Hydreigon's definitely coming, by the way. I just think it's probably going to be a Choice Scarf. There's other sets he could maybe bring, but Choice Scarf just seems way too good to pass up, in my opinion. But anyway, so Rotom Wash, yeah, just really good, really annoying for him to take on. Just pretty much one of my two bulky pivots here for this game, just to help keep his team at bay while I try to find my opportunity for Mew plus Zygarde to finish it off. So that is the Rotom Wash. Then I am bringing the Mega Beedrill. This is quite the set, guys. This is a Pokemon that can outspeed Adamant Scolipede. I think it actually outspeeds a Choice Scarfed Sylveon on the off chance that he actually decides to bring that. I don't think Choice Scarf Sylveon is likely at all, but it is a possibility, so this will be able to outspeed that. I really didn't need much speed investment, so I decided to kind of just take the safest route, which was the Choice Scarf base 60s. But even so, yeah, this is bringing HP Ice with 236 special attack investment. That is a jump point against the Landorus T, trying to do as much damage as possible with the Hidden Power Ice, just to guarantee I can put it in range of my Zygarde's HP Ice later on in the game. It'll be able to pop a Yachi Berry if I need to, and let's be real, he's going to go Landorus T on Mega Beedrill like every single time, so I can always just go for a Hidden Power Ice really whenever I want, because he's always going to go Landorus T, and that's if he's not invested in HP, it's going to do like 50% of damage to him. If he is HP invested, I'll be able to do probably like 30% or so, which is still really good damage against the Lando T's. So I'm A-okay with that for sure. Otherwise, this is just going to be gaining momentum for me like it's been able to do all season. It's a great revenge killer as always. And when I force in the Lando T, that just gives me a free Rotom every single time. So that combination is definitely something that I like to see here in this game. Like, no doubt, I love seeing that. As Rotom just applies so much pressure for his team on its own as well. So yeah, U-turn just really good. Poison Jab specifically for the Sylveon, and then Aerial Ace is mainly just for the Scolipede. Pretty much, I just need to be able to prevent the Scolipede from getting a free Swords Dance, and Aerial Ace should be able to do enough damage to Scolipede unless he's like really bulk invested, to where it'll be in range of my Zygarde's Extreme Speed, especially after Stealth Rock. After Stealth Rock, I should be guaranteed no matter what his investment is, but if I don't have Stealth Rock on the field, then Aerial Ace has a chance to put it into range of Zygarde's Extreme Speed. But I'm going to really prioritize rocks in this game, so I should be able to make sure that I have them up here. So that's also part of the game plan, just to make sure I have the Stealth Rock on the field. But yeah, we're bringing in almost max special attack with the speed boosting nature Mega Beedrill in this game, which is pretty interesting. I didn't really expect to do something like this, but I think it just makes a lot of sense for weakening the Lando T like I feel like I need to here for the rest of my team. Is if I weaken the Lando T, it actually also helps out this little monster as well. Another Choice Scarf Togekiss, which, you know, if Lando T is weakened down from the Hidden Power Ices, that might just be in range of Air Slash, if not just one flinch from Air Slash, which would technically be in my favor if I got one flinch. It's 60% for the chance of getting an Air Slash flinch at any given time. So yeah, Choice Scarf Togekiss, last time I brought this against Dai, it just straight won. It just straight blew him back. And it just makes so much sense in this matchup too, for two reasons. One being the fact that due to his speed tiers, I can run a Modest Nature on this, which makes it that much more threatening. It's base 120 special attack with a Modest Nature with a high flinch chance from Air Slash, not to mention Dazzling Gleam being pretty good against his team too. He doesn't really like switching into fairy attacks outside of Empoleon, and I guess Scolipede as well, which I have to be aware of for sure. And Rotom Heat too, but I don't think he's bringing Rotom Heat in this game. But anyway, Air Slash especially is really spammable against his team, especially from a Choice Scarf user. Plus, Mega Gallade, like I said before, a Swords Dance variant is such a massive threat against my team that I really wanted to have a safe offensive response to it. And on the off chance that he did opt to bring the Shadow Sneak on the Swords Dance Mega Gallade, my Mega Beedrill wouldn't necessarily be a safe response to that. So having a Choice Scarf Togekiss does give me a pretty safe response, and with the Modest Nature and just a couple rounds of Stealth Rock chip damage, Mega Gallade should be guaranteed in range of a Choice Scarf Dazzling Gleam as well, maybe even guaranteed in range of Air Slash. depending on his investment. If he doesn't have any investment in HP, I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed in range of Air Slash as well. So yeah, Choice Scarf Togekiss, really good way to check Mega Gallade, and also just serves as a good backup win condition. It's always an option, you know, I'm not trying to win this way, but it's always an option to just click Air Slash over and over again and see what happens, as that's the beauty of Serene Grace. And if for whatever reason Mew plus Zygarde can't win, then maybe Togekiss can do some damage on its own and just help out Zygarde. Maybe Zygarde won't need to have +3, +1 to be able to win the game. So just some options here to play around with on this team. And yeah, just a solid mon. Defog is just a really good move to have, just in case he does opt to bring a spike stacking Scolipede. I don't think that's what's coming, but the last slot I really didn't need for anything on Togekiss. I kind of thought about Baton Pass for momentum, but realistically I'm pretty much always going to be attacking with the Togekiss if I'm in with it. So it didn't make much sense to bring Baton Pass. I just don't really think I need it. So Defog makes more sense, I think. Plus, if he happens to bring like dual screens or something, which I've lost to in the playoffs before, then I have a way to get rid of his dual screens as well, having Defog. So that's the Togekiss. Pretty straightforward set. I do outpace, I believe, the Choice Scarfed Sylveon again with this, because there's nothing else I really need to try to outspeed. But then finally we have the Cobalion. This is my lead in this matchup, pretty much guaranteed, depending on what he brings, but pretty much guaranteed this is my lead. As you can see, this is nearly a full Fizz Death variant, which actually allows me to take a close combat from Jolly Mega Gallade. It's crazy to think about, but I can take close combat from, I think it's base 150 attack, something wild. I can actually take that hit from full health and pop my Papa Berry, get back up above 50%, and get up my Stealth Rock or do whatever I want to do on that turn. This also allows me to take hits from the Scolipede if needed. I can take, I believe, a +2 Life Orb Earthquake from Scolipede from full health, if I remember correctly. I can't take a Tectonic Rage at +2, but I can, I believe, take a Life Orb Earthquake, at least from Jolly Scolipede. I don't remember on Adamant off the top of my head. I'll need to check on that, but regardless, I know I can take those hits really well with the base 129 defense. That really helps a lot on taking hits like that for sure. But yeah, just a really fat Pokemon. I can take a hit from Lando T if it's not like Life Orb or Bandit, or like Tectonic Rage from that as well. So this can just, it can just eat a hit from pretty much anything I want to. Also helps out a lot against stuff like Staraptor if he decides to bring that. Among other members of his team, Hydreigon as well. Combination Togekiss plus Cobalion helps a lot against Hydreigon. So yeah, just a solid mon. It's a really reliable Stealth Rocker against his team. And if I'm kind of expecting the Mega Gallade to run either Substitute or Swords Dance. And most likely, so the situation I'm envisioning is the Mega Gallade trying to hard switch into the Cobalion at any given time. Basically, whenever I'm trying to get my chance to set up Stealth Rock, probably on turn 1, then I think he's probably going to try to go hard Mega Gallade on my Cobalion. Just in my head, that feels like the best play, as I could easily have like Hidden Power Ice or something for the Landorus T, and there's not really much that Cobalion can do against Mega Gallade outside of maybe like a Thunder Wave. I expect him to actually get aggressive like immediately against Cobalion, which is why I have Roar, partially why I have Roar. Roar can really help me out on that though, because that basically gives me free rocks, and I shuffle him once on hazards, which that's really convenient if he does decide to set up a Swords Dance or a Substitute or something with a Mega Gallade. But also it's just a nice way to check Scolipede Speed Pass. Speed Pass is allowed in this league, so if he does bring more of a Speed Pass team, which I really don't think is coming, but it's possible, then that gives me a good way to deal with that. It also helps me out against something that's something like Sylveon that's trying to heal itself up with Wish plus Protect. Roar will shuffle him out on his Protect turn, so Sylveon won't be able to actually accept the Wish. So there's a lot of benefits to having Roar on this set, and just in general, this thing is pretty annoying for him to take out. It takes a couple hits at least for his team to be able to get rid of this thing, which means I should have time to get up my Stealth Rock, and I should have plenty of time to maybe shuffle him around at least once with Roar, or just do some good damage with Close Combat or Flash Cannon. Pretty straightforward set, I guess, but really an important glue member of the team. This is what I consider to be the glue of the team. It's a good pivot around his scarier threats, and it can't really be set up fodder for any of his scary offense either, thanks to having Roar on the set. So that is the team that we are bringing for the finals of the last battle circuit against Panther. Make sure to let me know what you think about the team in the comments below. I think it's a finals worthy team. I think this team can definitely get the job done, and I'm really hoping Zygarde can pull it off. I actually haven't had, I don't think, a single, maybe one, like Zygarde sweep this season. It's been in position to sweep a lot, and I just haven't had the opportunity to actually go into it because something else maybe stole the show, or maybe just things didn't go my way in the match. But you know, we got another chance at it here. I think Zygarde is in a prime position with this team to have a chance to sweep him, and we'll just have to see what happens there. But yeah, let me know what you think about the team in the comments below. The battle should be coming out for you guys tomorrow. We are eyeing late afternoon for that game. We're looking at probably 5 EST as usual, 5 p.m. EST, so you can be on the lookout for that. If you're in school, I guess you could just check it out after school as well, but still be on the lookout for that. We will see if your KC Giraffe Chiefs can pick up a championship to close out this generation of draft format. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.